Study the world. What you find is the higher the level of general education in a society, the more justice there is. Because we are conditioned souls. Welcome to the Mahatattva. We are conditioned souls. And if I know that I'm dealing with a person that doesn't know their rights or doesn't think they have any rights, it is very seductive. I will be seduced into abusing that person. Because power corrupts. And knowledge is, for example, of the Chanakya Pandit or Hitopadesh, but there's a Sanskrit proverb that Buddhir Jasya Balam Tasya. One who has intelligence has power. And so you find around the world, like for example, take Scandinavia, where everybody has education and they have the most honest governments in the world, the least corruption. And then there's a direct correlation between, let's say, countries where they have very bad public education and a lot of corruption. And the better the general education, the less the corruption. That's a direct correspondence. And so if devotees are not aware that their leaders must give them justice, must treat them fairly, must treat them respectfully, if they're not aware of that, then they may just think that it's Krishna conscious to be mistreated, or it's Krishna conscious to be denied justice, that somehow, or to be treated unfairly, that this is somehow an act of devotion. And in a sense it is. Humility is always a good thing. However, we have to say, is it good for Prabhupada's movement? Actually, I'm just going to decide. So, and I think at this point, the world is not going to be attracted to a society that does not effectively and systematically guarantee justice to its members. Guarantee that all the members of this spiritual society will be treated fairly. And if you're not treated fairly, you have recourse. There are things you can do to secure justice. You will not be mistreated. Frankly, I think that's a lot more attractive than just elaborate rituals and big buildings. I think that that's what people are looking for. People are looking for a movement where the relationships seem spiritual. They actually look spiritual. They are spiritual. So I think the most important thing here is, I just wrote a paper, by the way. And I point out that Prabhupada is very concerned about these things. If I can just go very quickly into the sociology of religion, this is mainstream, standard sociology of religion. This is not, as I say, coming from a wacko website. In the initial stage of religious movement, whether it's ISKCON or any other religious movement, you have a charismatic leader, like Prabhupada. Charisma in Greek means Shakti-Avesh. It means a divine empowerment, a divine gift. So Prabhupada is a charismatic leader in the social science sense because he has, or his followers understand that he has or accept that he has this divine empowerment. And so when Prabhupada was personally here, all authority was in Prabhupada. We understood Shastra through Prabhupada. He said, go, stay, yes, no. That was it. It's not that you told Prabhupada, I have my rights, Prabhupada. You can't do that. And so when the charismatic leader passes away, you enter into another historical stage. And what history shows is that the ability of a new spiritual religious movement to survive, to flourish as a spiritual movement depends on their ability to take that charismatic authority that, for example, in our case, Prabhupada had, and channel it and transform it into a rational, sustainable, institutional structure where there's justice. So that the leaders of the movement, gurus, GBC, whoever they may be, they're not above the law, they follow the law. And so to think that as a leader, as a big leader, I don't have to follow the rules, that is imitating Prabhupada. That's not following Prabhupada, that's imitating Prabhupada. That's imitating Prabhupada. In fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 3, even if you are self-realized, follow the rules. He says it's right there in the Gita. Because if you don't follow the rules, you're going to mislead everybody else. And it's not that just by becoming a top manager that you are self-realized. It's not that the fact that someone has a high managerial position automatically means that person is self-realized. Every religion in history shows that some people achieve high managerial positions who are not so spiritually advanced. or the highest managerial positions. So the mere fact that someone is a member of a governing body, and I'm not, by the way, I'm not an anarchist. I'm not saying don't follow the law. Everyone just, go out in the street, and burn down, burn Sankirtan bands or something. We're not talking about anarchy here. We're talking about, devotees that follow the law. But the point is, everyone has to follow the law, and the law has to be fair. And it's not that because someone has the highest managerial position, that person is automatically spiritually advanced. They're not the same thing. In every religion in the world, some people who follow the basic principles of their religion and are good managers become top leaders in that church or that religious movement. So therefore, seeing that the top managers are necessarily the most advanced or most Krishna conscious it's just not true. They may be. Some of our top managers may be. In fact, some of them are. Some of them are very advanced. And some of them may not be. And that's why you have to have laws. You can't just say that whoever the top managers are, they are so spiritually advanced that they don't need to follow the rules. That doesn't work. And it's not working. So what we need in ISKCON is the rule of law, not the rule of the whims of individuals, but the rule of law. So when you join ISKCON, you have certain duties, you have certain rights. These are the rules of the game. They don't, as I say, move the goal line in the middle of the game. And that's the kind of society I think that civilized, educated human beings want to belong to. Yes?
So, it appears that throughout the world there's problems, because you take sociologists, for religious
it's simply a fact of life. You like it, you don't like it, it's just the way the world is. That in a society, the more people in general are educated and know things, the more justice there is, the more honest the government is, and the more the people in general are ignorant, the worse the government tends to be. It's just the way it is. And therefore, I have been taking steps in my service to Prabhupada to try to educate devotees about certain facts, not to foment, revolution, sedition, anarchy, chaos, just power to the people. But the idea is we want a fair, rational, civilized society where everyone follows the rules and the rules are fair. Yeah. So therefore education. That's why I'm trying to, as far as I understand these things, I'm trying to teach the devotees. Yes, Vedasara Prabhuji.
Just a little bit more clarification on this one. When we talk about justice, the way you explained it, and the way our philosophy teaches us to imbibe its teachings, and the way it's presented to the members in our society, is that this world is an unfair world. And so...
That's not what Krishna teaches.
So that's why we need to surrender to Krishna.
No. Yeah, that's a very convenient teaching for someone who's on top. The fact is, Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jijata mam prapadyante, tang satai, as people approach me or deal with me, I precisely reciprocate. That's the essence of justice. That's the essence of justice. It's just like, the most famous symbol of justice, and Krishna says he comes to this world to restore justice to this world. The most famous symbol of justice in the world is the goddess of justice, blindfolded and holding the scales. And it's very interesting because you see this in front of courthouses. Normally, in Europe they have this also. Yeah, so normally, because it's just, things have to balance. The punishment has to fit the crime. The reward has to fit the act. And interesting, justice generally carries a sword, but the sword is carried below the scales, because first you have to fairly measure everything, and then you apply justice. So Krishna says he comes to this world to restore justice. And so we're representing Krishna, treating people fairly, treating people equally. Krishna says you cannot achieve the highest devotion unless you treat everyone fairly. So this preaching that never mind the world's hopelessly corrupt, maybe it is, but does that mean ISKCON should be corrupt? So, humility, yes, but for example, myself, I'm not doing what I'm doing because I want something. I've already had all the positions in ISKCON and this and that. I can honestly say at this point, just give me some nice organic fruit and a quiet place, and I want to write some books. So I don't personally want any position in ISKCON. I'm not looking for followers, unless they're very rich. But come on, Beta. So, but the point is, I don't want to see the Lord's servants mistreated. I don't want to see sincere souls denied justice in the name of Trinadapi Suni Chain. I don't want to see people, and I'm not saying this is happening, maybe it is, I'm just stating a general principle. That ISKCON cannot be a society in which leaders manipulate philosophy like Trinadapi, be very humble, in order to treat people unfairly, mistreat them, deny them justice, in the name of everyone else should be humble. ISKCON cannot be that kind of society.